In this version of Earth, aliens lock up their prisoners inside human bodies without humanity knowing about it. Guard and Thunder are robots that can take a humanoid form and stay on Earth to make sure no aliens escape. One day, Guard travels to the past to kill a woman controlled by an alien and notices she left a baby behind, so he adopts her as his daughter. Unfortunately, the leader of the alien criminals called Controller manages to escape his human prison and releases a cloud of lava, a red smoke that can transform Earth's atmosphere so aliens can survive on it for more than a few minutes. Many people die inside this cloud and tons of alien prisoners wake up while Controller gets ready to make the cloud blow up, hoping to cover the whole planet and not just the city. Guard and Thunder tried to stop him, and during the fight they end up traveling to the past with Controller and Guard's daughter in their spacecraft. Thunder is shut down and Guard is killed while the girl falls in the river with Guard's special dagger, which is found later by fishermen. 10 years pass and Guard's daughter Yin becomes a young woman desperate to find the dagger, so she can stop the aliens. During her search, she meets the midge Murak and together they fight against the aliens that also want the dagger. In the end, Yin gets the dagger and escapes on a boat, while Murak discovers that when he was a kid, Controller left his old host and jumped into Murak's. Now Yin must find Thunder in the spacecraft, so she can take the dagger to the present and stop the lava from exploding. She goes to town wearing a fake mustache and learns that the local woodcutters saw Thunder around. At that moment, two mercenaries show up and want to capture Yin for the reward. Yin throws an axe at them, but they insist on fighting, so she pulls a rope to send one of them flying. Then she fights the other one, easily defeating him in a few moves and leaving him on top of a hot pot. On her way out, Yin notices two cats following her. Meanwhile, an unconscious Murak is found by mages Hyuk, Sol and Chungwon, who realize Murak is the boy with the monster inside that their master warned them about. When Murak wakes up, he asks a lady in the temple for information, and she shares the story. An alien in a human body called Jia Joing arrived 10 years ago and was rescued by masked monks. He thanked them by attacking them with his tentacles, which left Monk Nungpa blind. Then Jia Joing took control of the monks and is using them to find the dagger and release Controller. Meanwhile in town, Nungpa is showing off his sword skills by doing some tricks with a merchant to attract clients. A man in the crowd attacks him, thinking a blind man is easy, but he gets defeated quickly by Nungpa. At that moment, the mercenaries arrive and tell him that Yin has the dagger, which Nungpa wants to fix his eyes. Back to Murak, he decides he'll need the dagger to get rid of his inner monster too. He's soon found by Hyuk, Sol and Chungwon, who check on his Kai and give him back his magical fan. When they accidentally wave it, it makes the cats following Yin transform. It turns out these are Murak's warrior catmen, who are following Yin for the dagger. They notice the mercenaries are coming closer, so they start running away, quickly climbing on the roof to hide. At the same time, Hyuk Sol grabs Murak, mentioning the monster inside him. Murak starts feeling weird and Hyuk Sol suddenly finds her arm being twisted, but she can't let go because the hidden monster is draining her energy. Chungwon pushes Murak back with magic to free her, and Murak's body starts moving on its own, using the fan to create one magic that destroys some food stands. Murak yells as his body jumps all over the place, so the two mages begin using music to take over him. They make Murak dance, then throw him in the river, knocking him out. Moments later, Murak wakes up tied in the temple again, and the two mages are asleep. He's in control of his body again, so he grabs his fan and uses wind magic to get out of the temple. In the evening, Ian prepares a room in an inn as a trap and hides on the roof with the gun she brought from the future. Young still finds her and Ian quickly opens fire. But Young runs away and lets the other monks chase after her. She runs through the building and manages to hide in a room where she can see Nungpa arrive, ready to fight. A monk tries shooting arrows at him, however, Nungpa can easily redirect them back at him. He then starts fighting the other monks, bringing them down in seconds with fast moves and powerful wind techniques. Afterward, he throws a sword through the window, forcing Ian to dodge it. When she tries to send it back, the shockwave makes her fall. Nungpa immediately captures her and takes the dagger, revealing he saw it before when Guard came to the past to defeat an alien and took baby Ian. While Nungpa interrogates Ian, Murak uses an invisibility cloak to enter the room and take the dagger. Nungpa hears him and starts attacking, destroying most of the room. Ian runs out just before Murak is overpowered and thrown out of the building. When the mercenaries confront Murak, Ian reveals she took the invisibility cloak and covers Murak with it so they can escape safely. Nungpa tries to follow them by sound, but the catmen pretend to be merchants and make enough noise to confuse Nungpa's senses. A flashback then shows Guy into days before the Hava cloud appeared. She is Nangpa's descendant and keeps his heirloom safe in a bag. While she's meditating by the river, Guyan notices the cops fail to catch a criminal named Gu, who bumps into her and punches her. Guyan immediately retaliates, bringing him down in just a few moves. Moments later, Gu wakes up in the hospital and tries to attack the doctor, who presses his broken neck to make him release her. After the doctor leaves, Gu reveals he attacked just to steal her card, which he uses to open his handcuffs. The next day, a new group of alien criminals is sent to Earth, and Gu is one of the many people who gets an alien inserted into his body. Afterward, he doesn't remember what happened and escapes before the cops arrive. When Guyan comes to the hospital, she notices a young Ian walking by with a phone and overhears Guard and Thunder talking about Ian recording something important. They also mention her niece Min's son, who is Ian's classmate. A desperate Guyan rushes home and discovers the girls watching a video they hide from her. Guyan waits for them to fall asleep and checks Ian's phone, getting a big shock when she sees the aliens at the hospital. The following day, Controller releases the Hava cloud. As everyone in town panics, Guyan goes home to grab Nangpa's heirloom. Then she runs to the tents the police have set up around the Hava cloud. She shows them Ian's video, but they think it's just a trick edit from the internet. Afterward, she drives to Guard's home and sees him and Thunder fighting the aliens. The robots get thrown around a lot, and Guyan must stay hidden inside a building to avoid being found by the aliens. In the end, she watches Guard open a portal into the past and disappear with the creatures, leaving behind a second spacecraft. In the past, Ian tells the same story to Muirak, who realizes she is the girl he saved from a river 10 years ago. Muirak explains that after meeting Ian, he encountered Controller and passed out when Controller tried transferring the alien. He can't remember the rest, but he feels something inside him. However, Ian refuses to kill him, saying that if she survived as a baby, he deserves the same chance. After telling Muirak to just be himself, Ian leaves. Meanwhile, Jia Jiang and the monks find Guard's ship. Moments later, Mork realizes he didn't tell Ian about the woodcutters who saw Thunder. At that moment, a bunch of soldiers arrive in town looking for Ian, and two mercenaries insult Muirak, who immediately throws them through a wall. The Catmen then follow Ian's scent until they find her sleeping on a roof. They inform her of the danger in town and agree to leave together to look for Thunder. In the morning, the group reaches a cabin in the woods, where Ian finds a picture Thunder took of her and Guard with the message, "Run away, you fool." There's a painting of the robot on the wall, and Thunder himself is abandoned on a shelf. Unfortunately, he has run out of energy and isn't responding. Outside, the woodcutters return and are shocked to see the Catmen running away in fear because they remember seeing them 10 years ago. Confused, the Catmen follow them to town to ask for an explanation. At that moment, the soldiers arrive looking for Murak's teacher, Dong Ai. A Catman starts fighting them and doesn't see the archer behind him, so his brother jumps in to act as a shield. The soldiers then leave with Dong Ai as Murak arrives just in time to see the wounded Catman disintegrate. His energy reaches Thunder, who activates for a few seconds before shutting down again. Later in the evening, Changwon and Hyuk-sol go to the temple, where they find a bunch of dead soldiers and monks. In the back, they encounter Nangpa, who explains everyone was already dead when he arrived. Soon, Muirak and his Catmen also come and go upstairs, where they find Dong Ai with a sword in his chest. Furious, Muirak starts searching the building while Dong Ai uses his last breath to tell the Catmen that both cats came out of Thunder 10 years ago. In the basement, Ian finds Guard's spaceship, and Thunder begins glowing. Suddenly, Ya Jiang comes out of hiding in its alien form and stabs the remaining Catmen. Muirak rushes in and throws an axe at the creature, causing it to run. Then the alien attacks the two mages and Ian, who quickly opens fire. Nangpa also throws his sword and cuts the creature's tentacle, forcing it to let Ian go. As she hits the ground, the dagger falls out of her pocket, and the alien grabs it before running again. Nangpa follows it to fight, but is quickly pushed onto the lower floor. Next, Muirak tries to fight the alien, but he isn't fast enough, and the creature stabs him in the chest with the dagger. Muirak falls in pain, and Ian rushes to his side to take out the dagger. This activates an important memory. When Controller was about to jump into Muirak's body, Guard appeared and pushed Controller away just in time. Controller rolled down the hill and found Ian, so the alien transferred to her body instead. At the same time, Muirak died, and all his power was transferred to Muirak's body, which is the strange feeling he has inside. Thunder landed inside the woodcutter's house, where he scanned the woodcutters and the cats for inspiration. That way, He created the warrior Catman with his last energy so they could protect Muirak. In the present, the second Catman also dies, and the energy goes back to Thunder, who finally wakes up for good. Downstairs, Ian is shocked by the memory and prepares to self-delete with her gun, but the alien inside her stops the bullet with a tentacle. As Ya Jong returns to his human form, Controller takes over Ian's body and sends Thunder flying when he tries to approach her. In Ian's body, Controller uses the dagger to activate the spaceship and the time portal. At that moment, Nongpa guides his sword to knock the dagger out of Ian's hand and grab it himself. Controller immediately attacks him with his tentacle, and the dagger falls, so the mages run to retrieve it. This puts them in front of the time portal, which takes the mages, Controller, and Ya Jong into the present. Controller appears inside the Hava Cloud, causing all the aliens inside humans to start waking up. However, Ya Jiang appears at the hospital. Meanwhile, Guyan rushes into the police tent again to warn them about the danger, and the cops quickly knock her out with a taser and handcuff her in a police car. Soon a team of agents enters the Hava Cloud, but their bullets are useless against the aliens, who bring them down in just a few minutes. The camera on the agent's uniform catches sight of the aliens before it gets destroyed too. In the meantime, the two mages plus the dagger land inside a gym. At that moment, footage of the aliens appears on the news, and the mages think the TVs are the real thing, so they jump on the treadmill to destroy the screens. The cops quickly come to arrest them, and when the mages try to take the guns from them, they get knocked out with a taser. Both mages are thrown in the same police car as Guyan, who wakes up and sees them magically remove their handcuffs. At that moment, Gu appears driving like a maniac and hits the police car, causing it to crash into another vehicle and start rolling. It lands on top of a vent lid, and Hyuksol falls through it, sending her down a pipe and into a tunnel. Guyan takes the handcuff keys from the unconscious driver and frees herself. Then she takes the gun and fires at Gu, who dodges the shots and comes after them. Guyan and Chung Woon then fall through the vent too and reunite with Hyuksol to start running as Gu lands in the tunnel too. Minutes later, they take the stairs to come out, and the mages mention Yun, causing Guyan to connect them to her niece's friend. Gu soon finds them and hits Guyan with his tentacle, knocking her down while the mages hide inside a train. Yun then arrives looking for the dagger, so Guyan carefully sneaks away. At that moment, Guyan gets a call from Min Sun, who went to Yun's home to look for her friend and has seen the spaceship. Ya Jiang arrives to get the ship too, so Min Sun has to hide. In the past, Thunder wakes up and awakens Muruk too. After explaining he's the Catman, Thunder uses his power to activate Guard's energy inside Muruk, allowing him to summon the special armor. Muruk doesn't know how to use it and damages the temple in the process. Nearby, Nungpa notices the dagger cut his hand when he touched it, and now he can see again. Suddenly, Muruk's armor disappears, and Thunder concludes the power is unstable, meaning there's remaining energy interfering in the room. He finds enough traces of it to open a portal, so he summons the spaceship in the basement and transforms it into a car, so he and Muruk can travel to the present too. As soon as they land, Muruk is amazed by everything in the city, and Thunder has to explain what a taxi is. They can still see some energy in the sky, meaning both time periods are connected. Then Thunder transforms the car into a spaceship again, so they can fly to find the dagger. Meanwhile, Gan has escaped and is retrieving her heirloom. At the same time, the train with the mages takes off, and they try opening the door, only to get scared by the speed. Soon, Controller catches up to them and starts chasing them, destroying the train with his tentacles. The mages try fighting back with some old tools from the train and even hang off the edge, trying to make Controller fall. However, he uses his tentacles to move up, and the mages must use their magic to teleport. On the roof, Gu is also coming for them while Thunder's ship gets closer. He checks that Muruk can use the power and drops him on the train, where Muruk holds on at the last second to avoid falling. Thunder also comes and starts fighting Gu by changing into his robot form and opening fire as he flies. Gu rips off a roof piece to shield himself, then hits Thunder with it. Muruk puts armor over his hand to open a door, but instead he breaks it and falls off the train. He concentrates until he covers his whole body with the armor and runs with better speed. Nearby, Gain is in her car and notices the train is going to Guard's house, so she heads there. Inside the train, Controller corners the mages and catches Changwon, who throws the dagger to his partner. As a tentacle steals the dagger from Hyuksol, Muruk finally gets inside and cuts the tentacle to grab the dagger first. When he tries to attack, Controller stabs him with his other tentacles. Muruk starts quoting the things Yun taught him, and when controller takes the dagger from him, he grabs Yun's hand and transfers guard's power before passing out. Then the armor covers Yun's body, and the dagger returns to its original place. The armor also has a device in the hand that activates and starts extracting controller from Yun's body. Suddenly, Gu jumps onto the train and grabs the armored hand with his tentacle, only to be attacked by Thunder. By the time Gu overpowers Thunder and pushes him away, the armor has removed controller from Yun's body, and he now moves down the tentacle to take over Gu instead. Yun becomes herself again at the same time controller ejects lots of power to make the train crash right into guard's home, bringing down a bunch of buildings. As the mages are blown away, Thunder emerges from the debris with a pipe inserted in his body and realizes there are 6 minutes left before the explosion. When Yajong comes out, he uses his alien body to start fighting Thunder, while controller also appears in his true form. He finds Yun on the ground and captures her with his tentacles. But at that moment Gain arrives and throws her car at him, making him crash against a building and destroying more structures. Nungpa's magic sword falls from Gain's heirloom bag, and the mages hit controller with it as he tries to stand up. Then the sword goes to Gain's hand, who reveals that Nungpa left a letter for his descendants explaining some people from the past would arrive in the future someday. Together with the sword, he left them Muirik's fan and the mages' weapons, which they immediately grab to cast magic again. Muirik, weak on the ground, sees his fan and guides it to start attacking Young. After bringing the alien down, the fan drops a sword from Muirik. The mages use their music powers to help Yun and Muirik regain energy. All the humans team up to fight, and Thunder sees their chances of winning increasing. Yun grabs the dagger and runs toward the spaceship, while the others fight the aliens to protect her. Muirik and Gain use their swords, while the mages cast spells like a giant hand and magical clones. The fighting continues to destroy buildings, but controller still manages to capture Yun and Muirik. Thunder cuts a tentacle, allowing Yun to run again. Gain throws her sword, and Hyuksul's magic makes it huge, stabbing Young and finally killing him. Yun gets close enough to the spaceship and throws the dagger as she jumps. Controller tries to reach it with his tentacle, but Muirik gets his sword back from Thunder and cuts controller in two. The dagger hits the spaceship, shutting it down and containing all the Hava. This causes the aliens not hiding inside human bodies to start disintegrating. A part of controller escapes and tries to reach Min's son, but Muirik uses magic to throw a car to open the door and jumps in to be stabbed instead of the girl. Before controller can enter Miruk, Yun uses the armor to absorb the alien, transforming him into a small red crystal. As the crystal starts to crack, Thunder grabs it and explains that controller will try to escape again, so he'll take the crystal to outer space to blow it up. This will kill Thunder too, so he says a final goodbye to Yun and even transforms into the Catman for Muirik one last time. As Thunder leaves in the spaceship, he activates the time portal, which sucks the mages and Muirik in, taking them back to the past before Yun can say goodbye. Downtown, the Hava cloud rises in the sky to follow the spaceship. In the past, Muirik can't stop thinking about Yun. Suddenly, he remembers what Thunder explained about unstable energy and manages to activate it again. He immediately returns to the present and calls a taxi to find his love. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for